What's going on, YouTube world? This is your guy, Sealz the man. And I just want to talk to y'all about misconceptions of men. And there's a lot of them, but I'm going to break it down to four of my favorite ones to talk about. So if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe, hit that red button below the video box, like, comment, and of course, subscribe. And also, if you have an Instagram page, check me out. Follow your boy. I drop gems on there as well. All right, let's get to it. So I find this topic very interesting because no matter how much I may talk or how much anyone may talk and explain the different types of men, you will always have misconceptions because there's always someone who went through something that will alter their thinking forever, because a lot of people aren't open to changing their minds when they've been through something. Some people are forever convinced that a certain group of people will stay the same. And that's why there are such things as racists, people who hate certain cultures or religions, and everything in that circle. But today I'm going to talk about the misconceptions of men. 4. And the first misconception I want to talk about is thinking that men only want one thing. You know what? I'm going to compare this to something because you know I love my comparisons. You know how little kids, it seems like they only want one or two things, and that's like their toys and their mama. Like kids will do whatever it takes for them to get their toys, and they will do whatever it takes to scream their mom's name across the house. And sometimes for no reason. It is because it is ingrained in their brain to do those things, to like those two things. What about a dog? You know, it seems like dogs only want a couple things, a few things. Toys and their owner. Anytime you're around your dog and you give him or her a certain eye contact for a certain amount of time, most of them are going to run to get their toy because that's a signal to them saying, oh, you want to play? Got you. Be right back. And besides the toys, dogs love their owners. They just want to be up under them. They want to be near them. They want to follow them because that's love. You know what I'm saying? It is ingrained in their DNAs and in their minds to love those two things. So now I'm going to bring it full circle. Y'all are comparing a misconception to men when you should be directing that misconception to what I call, or what a lot of people call, grown boys. There is a difference. Please hear me out. There is a difference between men and grown boys. Two different mindsets, two different lifestyles, and related to this topic, two different wants. Men do not want the same thing as grown boys and vice versa. So men do not only want one thing, and they do not only want that one thing that we're referring to, but grown boys might want only one thing. And like how I compared kids and dogs, grown boys want a few things. Someone to play with and their mama. Now you see how all three of those things relate to each other? They're all immature. They're all naive in a way. They're all young in mindset. And when you have those things, you only want a few things. But when you're a developed, mature man, it is impossible to just want one thing, and it is impossible to just want that one thing. So please, ladies, I beg of y'all, when y'all realize that a man you're involved with or dating or you've experienced only wanted one thing from you, please change that wording from a man to a grown boy. And if you're talking about grown boys, that has nothing to do with us. Boxing us all in one box, it is unwise and it is unfair to all the work that we've been through, that we've put in to become the good men that we are today. You cannot box me in with a grown boy. We don't live the same way. We don't think the same way. We don't act the same way. And we don't believe in the same things. There's a separation because I know you would never want to be boxed in or compared to all women. Say, for instance, you get into a relationship and now your guy's like, you remind me of my ex. You remind me of this person. You would hate to hear that because you are totally different from the person he been with and the bad experiences he experienced with that person. You would hate to be put in that box, right? So let's be fair. The second misconception about men that I'm going to talk about is that men do not care about your emotions, or that they are not emotional and don't involve with emotions, which is all untrue. Men are logical creatures. Men want to fix things. They want the easiest route to a solution. They take step by step to get to the last step they can be robotic in a way, which can sometimes be their downfall because they don't use the other half of their brain. Sometimes we can think too much on the outcome or the result instead of the process and the understanding. So I admit to that. I understand that part of men's thinking. So I also understand the most difficult part for men in this case is to have a balance of logical thinking and emotional thinking or emotional involvement. When you have a healthy balance of the two, you'll put yourself in the best position to do whatever you got to do. But when you have too much of one side, if you're too emotional or too logical, you can get yourself in trouble or put in a bad situation. And I can understand this misconception because a lot of men were, like I talked about in my other videos, were raised in a fashion to be a man, to not express your feelings, to not express your emotions, especially in the public, because it is considered a weakness. And I've told you about that in my other videos, how that's unhealthy, untrue. Men as a whole, we got to work on that. But it is a reality. And a lot of men, most men are like that. So I can see why a lot of women would think of this misconception about men. But what I'm here to tell you, what Sealz is here to tell you is that a lot of men are actually more emotional than you think. But as I said before, a lot of them hate to show it because they were raised a certain way. Now they think a certain way. They think it's weakness, so they won't show it. You would be surprised at the number of men who sit in their cars outside of their family's home and just cry or just sit there in turmoil, mental turmoil, going crazy, having fits with frustration tears. You would be surprised, but you will probably never see it. So best believe men do care about your emotions because they have emotions themselves. A lot of them might want to act tough and act hard on the exterior as if they don't have emotions. But when you break past that exterior, it is a whole fountain of emotions. And as I always say, that's one of the things that's holding us men overall back. We got to find a healthy route, a healthy way, a healthy avenue to express what's going on in our minds, which will get rid of all of these other misconceptions that women think of us. That is one of our biggest problems. So believe me, men do care about emotions, even when they're not showing them or they're not showing acknowledgement to your emotions. Because I bet you they are thinking on them, even if they don't say anything. The third misconception I'm going to talk about here that women have of men is that he's too nice, he must be hiding something. So you're telling me because I'm nice, because I'm friendly, because I'm being myself, because I was raised right, I'm hiding something or I'm having an ulterior motive. Think about how confusing that could be for a man and how frustrating that could be for a man, especially when he is genuinely just nice. Now, don't get me wrong. There are reasons why women have to think like this or must think like this because they've been in experiences where men open the door and when she goes by, he's looking at her, checking her out or disrespectfully, or she's been in a situation where a man is too nice at a party just to get, whatever he wants from her. So I understand the reasons why you may think like that, but not all men are like that. Some men are just naturally nice. Now, as you watch the videos on my channel, you'll understand the mind of men more, and you'll also understand the difference between men and grown boys. You'll be able to pick out the ones who are genuinely nice and the ones who want something from you. But, that's the reward of following Sealz the Man's channel. Also, this misconception is a reflection of all the harsh realities and deception from men that women have gone through. This is sad, man. Just think about it. You've never heard a man say, oh man, that woman right there, she's way too nice. What does she want from me? Oh, she right there, she's way too friendly. She's hiding something. You don't ever hear that. But the fact that women are saying that says something. There's some kind of truth behind that, right? So that is a reflection of today's society. And that is just unfortunate. That shows you right there of the imbalance of negative experiences in this topic with men versus women. There are more women that are victims of friendliness or fake friendliness than there are with men going through this. That's crazy. So what I want you to do is just pay attention to their actions, pay attention to their words, pay attention to how they're moving. And then you'll be able to pick up if they are genuine with their friendliness or they are using it to get something from you. My fourth misconception about men that women think is that men could do everything. Listen, I'm a man. And I love when someone thinks I can do everything or when someone thinks I am great at what I do. Because as a man, that completes my manhood because that's exactly what I want to do. I want to get things done. I want to be great at the things I do. And I want to be acknowledged as such to fortify my manliness or fortify my manhood. And there's nothing wrong with that. If they are positive things, of course. But what women must understand about men is that we cannot do everything, even though we take pride in doing as much as we can. So going into relationships, yes, your man may want to do everything for you around the house or do everything for you outside of the house. He may see fit to work 3 jobs to take care of you and the family. He may desire to do all those things for you because he loves you that much. And that is amazing. That is what's needed in today's society. Visual examples of men trying to do it all. But what you must understand in your relationship is that you are his partner. So when you see fit that you can come in and help the situation or help him, then you have the right to do so. And in most cases you should, because a lot of men, myself included, I've been through this, will burn themselves out trying to do everything, trying to make that persona or that vision of a man can do everything real for you. And it's a great look until he burns himself out, until his health starts depreciating because of his effort to try to do everything. So I believe not only that men can't do everything, but they shouldn't do everything, because I believe that no one can do this thing called life alone, and they shouldn't do this alone. So it kind of discourages me, to be real with y'all, to hear some women say like, oh, he's fine. He'll do it. Or that's his job to do it. I don't need to do nothing because that's what he's supposed to do. I just don't believe that's healthy for him. And when he loses his health, I don't believe it's going to be healthy for y'all as one. So I just want y'all ladies to know out there, just because your man says or is doing everything or acts like he can do everything, that is not okay that he's trying to do everything. I compare it to how like athletes, when they're injured, they want to get back out on that field because that is their drive. That is their passion. That is what they love to do. That sport they play, they love to play so much that they will risk getting injured again just to do it. But who wins when that person gets injured again? In this situation, who wins when your man gets burnt out? No one. Sometimes you can be your worst enemy. So that means sometimes you got to tell him to chill. So sometimes you got to be the one to be like, stop, chill out. I got this. So I hope y'all learned something from these topics. I hope y'all learned something from these points. But one thing I do want to point out, the main overall difference and division in this is that there is a difference between men and grown boys. So you must direct your comparisons, your misconceptions, your judgments on each one individually, because men are not grown boys and grown boys are not men. And another thing is, once you set your standard for men and not set your standard for young boys, your perspective and your life and your relationships will dramatically change. They are 2 different scenes, but your guy Sealz the Man is just here to remind you. That's all. So thank you for coming back and watching my video, watching my crazy and fun and entertaining but informal topics. And I hope that you come back to my future videos. I got a lot in store. Thank you for watching. Peace and blessings and goodbye.